This series is intended for mature audiences. We insist you heed the following content warnings before viewing. Horror themes, language, adult themes, and strong violence and gore, including gun violence. Welcome to the Weird West. Let us tell y'all a story.
The home is quiet, like it itself is asleep, although there's this restlessness about it in a way that only sits on your bones and makes your heart feel tense. Leonard Ward's hands shake as he brings the cup up to his lips, and some of the drink spills as he tries to get some into his dry mouth. The dark circles under his eyes make them look sunken in as he looks up at each of you, voice as tired as his body seems. It started with my boy, Tim. Tim sits on the chair with his knees pulled up to his chest. He looks just as exhausted, and his boyish face looks hardened with some sort of trauma and exhaustion, as if wise beyond his years from experience. He came to us scared, swearing there was something under his bed, like kids do. We didn't think anything of it, just a scared kid. Kids get scared. The boy is just staring without blinking. And Leonard's eyes blink in long, drawn-out blinks, fighting sleep. He shakily takes another sip of his hot tea, which you watched him brew and forget the tea leaves. So he's just drinking hot water, but he hasn't even seemed to notice yet. I missed church yesterday because I didn't know what to tell them. I could lie, and I could say Martha's sick, so she had to stay home. The home falls silent again, and each of you share glances with each other at this point. Martha's not sick, she's just... It all started with Tim. He was scared of the monster under his bed, and Martha and I, we told him there are no monsters, and I didn't know I was lying to him. I swear I didn't. And he swallows, and you see him rubbing his eyes from exhaustion. And I woke up, and Martha was just gone. He falls silent again. I mean, she's just gone. Her purse, her shoes, her makeup, everything is here, and I pray every day that she left me. I pray that she walked out on us, because then she would be somewhere, but she's nowhere. Do you understand? She was beside me when we went to sleep, and I woke up and she was just gone. That night, when I tucked him into bed, I heard it. Scratching under his bed, just waiting. I looked at my boy, and we shared the same fear in our eyes, and then like a coward, I went to my own fucking room, and I laid down in my own fucking bed, and I cried. He begged me, he said, "Daddy, please don't leave. I don't want to be in here by myself," but I didn't want to believe it. And At this point, he kind of sniffles and wipes a tear from the corner of his eye. I heard it that next night under my own bed, scratching, shifting, and I can't fall asleep. I'm afraid of what it'll do to me if I do. I'm so tired, and I'm afraid I'm going mad. Please, will you please help us? Please. If you will use this moment to introduce yourselves, your characters, and your appearance as you're sitting in here listening to this story. We'll start with Archie.
Okay. Yes, Archie is quite a smart gentleman. I suppose early 30s, perhaps. He has some round spectacles, and he's, unlike myself, quite clean-shaven. All the time he's been making little notes in his little notebook. Sort of quite interested about what's been going on. Sort of curious, sort of sympathetic sort of nods and sort of very sympathetic to this gentleman's obvious needs and.
Raul?
Raul is sitting very attentively, like genuinely like listening, putting all of his attention towards the man's tail and having a very sympathetic look on his face. He's in his mid to late 40s. He is not clean shaven. His hair has gone long. It looks like he doesn't necessarily take care of his hair, but his beard is kind of very neatly kept on his face. He's clearly Hispanic in terms of his skin, and he has a very fancy red duster that looks kind of impractical. Like it's made out of something expensive, some expensive hide of some sort of a creature. Maybe you don't know. Maybe he dyed it, and you're not entirely sure. But it's something very clearly expensive on. And he's leaning forward and just listening very, very intently, and has a very compassionate look on his face towards this during this man's tale.
Last but not least.
All right, so Roan is probably in his early 30s. He's got mostly pretty dark, pretty weather-worn clothes on, big kind of overcoat that's seen some better days, dark hat that's concealing what looks to be some bright red hair. And he's got a little bit of a beard on his face, again, kind of a dark, kind of ruddy color. Makes him look like probably got some Irish lineage in there somewhere. He's got a 6-shooter on each hip. And he's probably kind of leaning against one of the wall. He's also chewing tobacco as he kind of stands there, looking very concerned at the family, especially looking at Tim.
All right, so you sit here. There is a solid few moments of just silence. You're not certain if Leonard's done speaking. Tim hasn't moved. And you see Leonard's eyes kind of fall to one spot on the floor, and he just zones out. And there are a solid few seconds of absolute silence as you guys are glancing around at each other. Is there anything anyone would like to do or say?
Kind of clear my throat after a moment, looking between Leonard and Tim, say, either one of y'all seen anything strange? I mean, I know I heard about things scraping and scratching, and what makes you sure it ain't an overgrown rat? Just to rule that out, if I might ask.
There's another couple moments of silence, and you're almost wondering if he just didn't hear you. And then he blinks and just looks up, almost as if he was like waking up in a sense. He blinks and looks up to you. He just shakes his head. No, it wasn't a rat. It didn't sound like a rat, but I've been too afraid to look. I don't know what I'll see. I can't do it. And you just see him fix his eyes on that same spot on the floor again.
Rue will kind of sort of say, Abrasame, come on, man. Seems like you have had a pretty rough time of it, and I've heard of a lot of strange things going on about the areas, so you have my word that at least I will do my best to investigate it. Come, come, and
yeah, when you say that, he looks up, almost a little more awake, and he says, Can you stay? Can you stay tonight? Just one night. We need to get some sleep.
Of course.
And he just takes like your hands in his hands for a moment and just squeezes. He's so weak, like he's just the tiniest little squeeze. And then Tim kind of just looks up, so tired, and just looks at his father and says, "Sleep?" And Leonard just nods, yes, we're gonna get some sleep. We're gonna get some sleep. And then Leonard actually scoots his chair a little bit closer to the three of you, almost as if, not necessarily that he's trying to hide what he's saying from Tim, but almost as if he doesn't want something else to hear him. And he has just this very somber, serious look on his face, and it's only at night. See, you can feel it like a wet bed sheet wrapped around you. It sticks to you, and you can't shake it off, and you can't untangle yourself from it, and it suffocates you. You can feel it in your lungs, in your throat, and you just want to squeeze your eyes shut until it goes away. If it goes away, it feels like an eternity being up all night, frozen, tired, but knowing that if you'll sleep, you just see him trail off again. And his head kind of snaps back. Dinner. I'll cook you some dinner. And he stands up, and you hear him shuffling over into the kitchen, where you hear just pots and pans rattling around. You now sit in here mostly alone. Tim is in here, but he seems pretty zoned out as well.
I'll kind of look back and forth between these two and sort of get up from where I'm leaning against the wall and say, "Well, friends, since we're in it for the night, pleased to meet you. My name's Roan."
Raoul, a pleasure to meet you both as well.
Archie will stand up. I'm Archibald Flashheart Fenton West. But most people call me Archie. I guess it's easier to say. It's certainly a pleasure to meet you both.
Tell me, you don't come around these parts often, do you, Archibald?
No. I am what you call a traveller on your lands. In your lands. Yes, I've come from England to study and research. Things such as what this gentleman seems to be suffering with. Sort of strange things, sort of whether these things exist and what have you, and document them as best I can. And he, as he says that, he holds up a sort of a very small little box camera, and he's got his little notebook. But yes.
Most excellent. If you need a publishing deal or something, please let me know. I would be happy to help.
That's very good of you. Thank you. Yes, I'll make a note.
Well, certainly no shortage of strange things around these parts. I'm sure you've come across a few interesting stories thus far if you've been here for a while.
Very, very curious. Very, very interesting. Yes. Lots of evidence.
At that, you actually see Tim scoot out of the chair he was sitting in, stand up, and then with just heavy, heavy footsteps, begin walking over to join his father in the kitchen.
Roan's just kind of watch after him as he goes. So, Archie, you ever come across anything like this before?
I'm not sure. Have I come across anything like this?
Go ahead, and for you, I'll say make a common knowledge roll.
Ooh, okay. So 2d6s by the...
Yeah, and then take the higher. Yeah.
Okay. A 5.
Okay. Thinking you've heard of towns and villages being plagued by fear, and it's always been explained by something, some sort of parasite in the water that was just making everyone on edge. There's been a natural explanation for anything that seems to have caused this type of fear, this type of not wanting to sleep. But it's always been widespread, or at least wider spread than one household. So.
Yes, so yes, there has been examples of this, but usually, going by my information, it's more of a widespread thing. I mean, to be localized to just a household is very, very unusual. Very interesting, though. I, for one, would certainly like to get to the bottom of it and relieve these gentlefolk of their ailment.
Certainly,
naughtiness.
We're in agreement there.
Good. I'm pleased.
You hear just pots and pans just moving around. You hear the scrubbing of dishes, and even just what you can see from the kitchen. There are just dirty dishes laying out everywhere. There's food still on plates. It's just a mess in there, and you hear Leonard just mumbling to himself, just trying to prepare some sort of meal for you. You see him tossing expired food into the trash, looking for something that he can cook up for you. And Tim has gone in and just sat down at the table, just waiting. Just seems to be sitting at his seat at the table. He's got both fists on the table, and his head kind of droops a little bit, and you just see him staring, trying not to fall asleep. After a little while, you finally actually smell food cooking, and you're like, okay, this smells pretty good. Some sort of meat and potatoes mixture, something he could find, something he could throw together. And he brings those over to the table and motions for you to come join. You come sit at the table with them, and you see, it's a warm, pretty filling meal. Most of you have had better, but it tastes fine. It's good. The flies buzzing in the kitchen are a little distracting as you're eating your meal, but it's at least filling for the night. And you see the wards just chewing slowly. They're not even halfway through their meal by the time you finish yours, as if every flex of the jaw just exhausted them more and more. Is there anything any of you would like to do or say during dinner or before nightfall?
I think after Roan's finished eating, he's probably going to stand up and roll up his sleeves and do some dishes.
All right, so yeah, you stand up, you kind of gather the other two's plates once they're finished, and just head over, and you just start
try to make a dent in the stack.
Yeah. The other two?
Archie would, while everybody he'll just sort of quietly pick up his camera and just stand in the corner and just take a little snap of the room, just for sort of kind of prosperity, sort of before the operation or whatever it may entail tonight.
Okay, what room?
The kitchen, you know, where everybody sat. Just
Okay.
well, so it's Rowan sort of washing up and sort of everybody else in the two wards sat at the table and
Easy enough.
just get a sort of little tableau just before anything.
So
happens.
does this camera have a like a flash feature?
I think it would have. Well, I was thinking just like one of those little box thing.
Okay.
It's just like a little plate, and it's sort of. So I'll have to sort of stand there for a good sort of 10 seconds for its exposure, and because I think a flash would be too cumbersome. But
Okay. Sounds good. Then in that case, yeah, not it doesn't cause much of a disruption anywhere, those that had never had their picture taken or anything probably wouldn't even know, but everybody's at least holding pretty still at the moment, so all right, easy enough. Picture is taken. What is Raoul doing?
I think Raoul's just gonna ask, do you have anyone have a cigarette? Do you mind if I smoke in here?
You see Leonard kind of pat his pocket. No, I think I ran out. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. It's not the biggest deal. And I think we're probably just gonna just wander around the bottom floor a little bit. Actually, is this a multi-story house?
There is actually, it's just a one-story home.
Okay. I think we'll just kind of wander around, just keep an eye out around the kind of area around the kitchen, see if he sees anything weird going on.
Okay, go ahead and make a notice roll.
Okay. Two.
All right. Walking around, all you can really tell from the state of this home right now is how much it has not been tended to recently. There's layers of dust, things that the piles of dishes would definitely reveal to you without looking around. But as you're glancing around, it is confirmed. The house is just a mess.
Gotcha. Okay.
It takes you a little while to make a dent in these dishes. Once you do, and once you feel at least satisfied enough, you kind of dry your hands and you see the orange glow coming through the window of the sun setting outside. And this...
While we have enough light, I'd like to do a quick just once around the house.
Okay.
Just around the outside. Just take a look at it. Look around under the windows. Just see if anything looks weird.
Sure. Go ahead and make a notice check.
That is a 4.
On your D4?
Yes.
Cool. Roll again.
That is a 2.
All right. So with that 6, you walking around the entirety of the exterior of this house, you're checking the windows, you're looking the walls over. Everything appears to be in order from the outside. There's nothing... Were you looking for like anything specific or just making sure?
I was looking to see if anything had like dug to get under the house, or
Okay.
if there were any like prints or marks underneath the windows, like something had crawled in or out.
Okay. You don't see anything around the windows to indicate that. As for digging like underneath the house, you see small holes that would indicate different critters, and in a few different places.
Yeah, but nothing big, just the little ones.
Yeah. As far as you can tell. The two of you are...
God, I was just going to ask, what kind of lighting are we expecting to have this evening? Is it going to be candlelight, or are we going to have...
You actually see amongst, like, as you're kind of thinking this to yourself, amongst the mess of everything. You see various lanterns scattered throughout the house, oil lanterns, candles. It seems they have gathered most of their light sources into this living room.
Okay.
And Leonard's actually walking over and pulling out a book of matches as you're noticing all of this, and he slowly begins to, it's going to take him a while, light all of these light sources.
Okay.
And around this time, you see Roan coming back in.
Anything outside of interest?
Nothing but maybe some holes where some varmints gone into the house. Nothing unusual or odd.
And I suppose we will be waiting until nightfall to have our little soiree.
Maybe before it gets dark, should we have a look under the beds? I mean, just before.
Figure it wouldn't hurt.
Why not?
I will head towards Tim's room in that case.
Okay. There's the master bedroom on one side of the house. Like master bedroom, kitchen, living room, kind of a hallway area, and then the kids' bedroom at the end. So you're heading to that end of the house towards Tim's bedroom. Where are you two heading?
I will be following behind.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with the rest of them.
Okay. All right, so all of you head down the hall towards Tim's bedroom. And looking in, you see the curtains are drawn back, so there's still just the orange sunlight glow coming in through the window. And you see his bed kind of centered at the doorway once you walk in.
I'll walk in and kind of glance at the other two before I'm going to bend down and take a peek underneath.
Yeah, I'll kind of like just hold my gun kind of as like a reassurance thing.
Okay. You crouch down. The floorboards kind of creak just a little bit as you shift your weight and crouch down to let yourself glance under this bed. And it's just a floor.
Is the bed in the middle of the room so we could go either side of it? Is that?
Like when you walk in, the bed is actually sideways, but in the center of that wall.
Oh, I see.
So you're coming in like at the side of it, and you can go around it to the other side as well.
Okay. Anything there?
But a whole mess of floor.
Archie makes a little note.
Just constant like scribble sounds coming from Archie at all times.
Lots of sort of interesting.
Is there like anything else that might stand out in the room to any degree?
All that's really in this room, you see the bed, you see kind of a mess of extra pillows and blankets off in the corner. You see one wooden chest that has no lid, and it seems to be full of various toys. You see a shelf with maybe 4 books on it, a little desk, and a door to a closet.
Okay.
Who's nearest the closet?
We'll say you.
Okay, I would like to look into the closet.
All right, you head over. The doorknob kind of jiggles slightly. It's a little loose. And you open up the door and look into the closet. You see maybe 12 articles of clothing hanging up. There seems to be a couple outfits for church. You see just some play outfits. It just seems to be clothes in here.
Okay. Can I just separate them to see sort of?
Sure, you hear the hangers kind of scrape.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we're looking through. Seems like a normal closet.
Satisfied, I'll close the door again.
Okay. You hear it latch.
Nothing in there.
Where do you gents want to post up for the night?
Well, the way I see it, we have a couple of ways to do this. We could have one in near each bedroom, perhaps even with a crack of the doors so we can see inside, and someone wandering around in case something pops up where we don't expect. Or we can move together so that if any of us get attacked by whatever this thing is, we won't be alone.
Well, I reckon it wouldn't hurt. Maybe for peace of mind to these folks, it might help to have one of us in the actual room with them. We could always ask them, see what their feelings are.
It's fine by me.
And we'll head back out and into the main room.
And walk down the hallway. You see all of the light sources are lit now, and it's giving the room a really eerie glow. Like, you haven't seen this many candles and lanterns probably in your life. And this room is full of them as the glow from the window is slowly disappearing as the sun actually finishes going down. It's just an orange glow now coming out of the windows at this point. You see it's illuminating the living room so well that anything past it seems extra dark. Like the door to Leonard's bedroom is open and it just seems pitch black in there. The kitchen even seems eerily dark. And as you're coming into this room, even glancing behind you, the hallway towards Tim's room seems a little spooky now too. And you see Tim and Leonard both sitting on the same couch cushion. Leonard has his arm around Tim, and they're just looking at you with like hope in their eyes, kind of.
Kind of step in and say, how you fellas want to work this? Y'all going to be sleeping in your same rooms or one room together?
No. You hear Leonard just saying no over and over, and Tim's just shaking his head. And
Fair enough.
We'll get some rest on the couch if you don't mind.
No trouble at all. Would you feel better with one of us with you?
Yes.
All right. And I'll look at my two new friends and say, y'all mind if I sit with them first?
No.
By all means.
I'll find some out-of-the-way place in the room to just kind of sit down.
Yeah, one of the other chairs you can easily just scooch over to. And you see they're very comforted by this. And Tim kind of just leans back and closes his eyes, and it seems to be out in a matter of seconds. And Leonard just says, thank you, over and over. And he says, please wake me up if anything happens. And you just see him like crawling to lay down as if he just had the longest like hard labor work day of his life, and he just lays down, and you see his head rest for a moment and then just sink as he falls asleep, and the house falls silent again.
So you fellas want to take it in rounds, or you all stay up together?
I would say perhaps one of us could sleep at any given time. That way, again,
Yes.
if something is to happen to the other, then we have some way of reassuring they are not taken away by whatever these people have here.
Yes, that seems reasonable.
Where I'm sitting, I'm just going to start I'm going to pull out one of my pistols and just kind of start absent-mindedly rolling it in my hand.
Well, Archibald Fenton West, would you like to say first, or would you like me to?
I don't mind. You can do it. It's fine.
Excellent. Well, and is there like another just even like chair in the area?
Yeah, there would be another chair.
Yeah, I think Raul's gonna like take off his duster and like wrap it around the chair, and then just kind of lay there and be like, "Shoot me awake if you need me." Not shoot me, but just make something. And he'll just kind of relax his head against it.
All right. So that leaves us with Archie.
Yes.
As Rowan is watching over the sleeping members, what would you like to do?
He'll check his little timepiece just to make a note of the time.
Okay.
And then he'll go back to the young lad's room, because having seen that before, he knows what it looks like in normal mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it'll just head over to the room and sort of just have a cursory look inside.
Okay. Are you going in, or are you just looking from the doorway?
I'll look from the doorway just to start with, just to make sure, so just check there's nothing hiding out of sight and making its presence made, or not hiding. Yeah.
So you just push the door all the way open and look into this room. It takes you a little while for your eyes to adjust. It's dark, but it's not nearly as dark as it appeared from the living room. And as you're looking in, everything seems to be how you left it.
Archie was suddenly, an idea will dawn on him. He'll briskly walk back to the main room and pick up a lantern.
Okay.
And then go back in, and then sort of wave that into the room, just to. I mean, he's feeling a bit bold. He'll take a little step in, just to. He's got light now, so he's.
Yeah, you walk in, take a step in, and you're moving the lantern around. I'm gonna have you. Let's see. What do I want you to do for this? I'm gonna have you make a spirit roll for me.
Ooh. Okay. Oh yes, it's up there. Same board, 2 dice.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah. Always add your d6.
That's a 5 again.
Okay. So there is a brief moment where you feel like your heart jumped out of your chest entirely, because as you turn the lantern, it casts a shadow from the doorknob across onto the other wall, and as it does that, you jump, and the lantern kind of shakes a little bit, but you're able to maintain your composure and not drop the lantern, and you just kind of stand there and you hear your heart just beating in your chest, and you're just like, calm down, okay. Other than that, the room still seems as you left it.
Okay. Yeah, I dare say Rowan might have heard a little "ooh" as he did that. And then, satisfied that it seems to be relatively free of beastie, he'll come back and just quietly say to Rowan, it seems to be still clear down there.
Rowan's like trying to keep a straight face.
Just going to go and check the other room. And then he'll go to the father's room, whose name I've forgotten.
Leonard, yeah. All right, so one, yes. Yeah, you walk over. Leonard's door is already wide open, so you walk in with the lantern as well.
Yes.
All right, so you walk in, kind of push the lantern into the room. You see it light up. The room's about the same size as Tim's, actually, and you see a larger bed. Pretty simple. There doesn't seem to be a closet in here. It's just one solid room. You see a little like dresser type 6-drawer situation happening with almost kind of almost like a desk up top. You see that's where he seems to be keeping many of his papers or things like that. But that's really it in here. It's a pretty simple room.
Okay. It seems okay to him. Okay.
Yeah.
Feeling quite confident, he'll he'll just have a little bend down and look under the bed, feeling a little bit more confident that everything seems to be okay.
All right. Go ahead and make a notice roll.
Okay. Ooh, I got a 6.
On your d6?
Hmm.
Awesome. Roll that again.
Oh, a 2.
Okay. Yeah, so leaning down, so you got an 8, which is actually what you need to get to succeed is a 4, and you got double that, so that's called a raise. So with certain things, like with combat, that will add damage die, like different things like that. So it's kind of like a critical success in a way. So as you are leaning down, you have the lantern, you almost set it down on the floor to get a better look, and you just see dust bunnies moving, and you're about to stand back up, having seen nothing, when you do notice what appears to be 3, maybe 4, the fourth one's kind of faint, scratch marks that seem to lead about halfway under the bed up to the edge of the bed. On the floor.
Archie will make a little sketch very quickly, just in a very, obviously it's not going to be a masterpiece work, it's just sort of rough place where it's placed and things, while also sort of cautiously looking over his shoulder that there's nothing untoward going on as well.
You have a brief moment of not quite as startling as in Tim's room, but as you're glancing behind you, your own shadow almost scares you, but it doesn't quite get there. You just look, you see it, and you're like, yeah, I'm done being scared. And
on Archie, keep it together. Come on.
Yeah, and you stand back up.
Yep.
Okay.
And back out the room. Yes, and return to the main room between.
Okay. So Ron sees Archie coming back out with a little bit straighter of a face, just very like almost a determined look on his face.
Find anything?
Well, not directly, but he holds his little sketch. I saw these markings under the bed.
Looking at it, does it look like, can I discern from his sketch if it looks like something that like an animal would have done, or if it looks like something else?
All right, so first I need Archie to make a performance roll. Do you have performance? Okay. Well, we'll see. Yeah, sure. Yeah, performance. That'll be fine.
Do I have a performance? Not really. No, I don't really have a performance. Academics?
Yeah, I'll let you do that one. I was just looking at that. That one I'll do.
3 is the highest. It's awful. It's an awful picture.
You see floorboards, like he drew the floorboards, and then you see just 4 lines. Like it probably got like the distance between them correct, but it's just lines. Really, it's not easy to tell.
I'll kind of squint at the drawing and say, well,
yeah, exactly.
Can't much tell on that. See anything else, or otherwise quiet?
You notice Archie's a little bit hurt that his picture isn't very good. No, I didn't see anything there per se, other than those. There was no sounds. Other than my own shadow.
Yeah, that'll get you.
No, there doesn't seem to be. I'll just have a look in the kitchen, just if it's not too far. Sort of I'll check. How many other rooms are there in this house?
That's it. This
I
is a
shouldn't be-
very it's a very small home. You see, it's sort of in a sense like a trailer,
Yeah. I get
like
that.
like a trailer house would be in a way. Um, and you do see a back door out on the other side of the kitchen, but it seems to be blocked off by piles of trash.
Okay. So there's nothing. Yeah. Just a glance into the kitchen just to.
Yeah, glancing in, you see the neatly stacked dishes that had been done earlier. You see the meal that Leonard cooked you. Whatever's left over
Damn
seems
flies.
to still be in the same pot or pan that it was being prepared in. It's covered, but you see flies like trying to get in there. Other than that, normal for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll come back. Yeah, it seems to be all quiet for the time being.
From where I've been sitting, have I noticed anything odd going on with the father and son? Or are they just passed out?
They are just knocked out. They're not even moving. Like sometimes you've leaned over a couple times just to make sure they're still at pulse.
Yeah.
Because that's how hard they're just
Gotcha, they're out. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Is there anywhere specifically you would like to spend the rest of your time? Or do you just want to kind of do a making rounds sort of situation?
Yeah. I think it's sort of every so often it's sort of almost regular intervals. He'll check his watch and see, it's been 10 minutes or however long.
Okay.
And then just have another sort of little listen and a look at each room and.
Okay, and how long would you take your shift? Like how long would you?
Is Rowan planning on staying up all night, or is he going to have a sleep as well?
He'll probably stay up maybe 2/3, and then if you two are awake if we each sleep about 1/3 of the night, I figure if we kind of cycle through. So he'll probably catch some sleep at some point.
Yeah. So so I'll wait. I'll do that for 1/3, and then we can swap over either way.
Okay. I will say, as you're looking around, the house creaks, the floorboards creak everywhere, the walls even kind of make different creaks. You hear wind whistling through different parts of the windows. But it just seems like an old house. As the first third of the night comes to a close, you return to the living room. Are you waking up Raoul, or are you switching with?
Archie would say, "Did you want to go next, or did you want to have a little?"
I'm alright to stay awake a little longer if you want to swap with Raoul.
Yeah, we'll swap. I don't mind that. And then our friend here can have the take your yes.
All right, so we're waking up Raoul.
I think Rowan's going to do.
Yeah, I'll go over and give him a gentle little nudge.
Okay.
Get some good beauty sleep there. It's about that time.
I don't need any more beauty. I'm great as I am.
Just kind of chuckle at that.
All right. Would you rather stay here, or you want to go search?
I wouldn't mind taking a look in the rooms if you're all right to keep an eye on these two.
Please, by all means. And he'll kind of get up and take his duster off and kind of fit it on him again. And he'll grab his his bullard and just kind of holding it, like kind of leaning against your shoulder, like hand not just on the stock of the gun, but just kind of leaning against himself.
Gotcha. All right. And with that, Archie settles into one of the chairs. And lets himself drift off to sleep. Falling asleep pretty easily, considering you're not really freaked out by this house at all. Rowan is looking around. Where do you start?
I'll walk down to Tim's room first.
Okay. Head down, you hear the same just creaks on the floorboards as you're making your way into the room. Are you bringing a lantern?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm gonna keep my gun out. Just.
All right, gun in one hand, lantern in the other.
Mm-hmm.
Walk in, the light spills into the room, and it's just as you had seen it a few hours ago.
I'll stand for a minute and just kind of listen.
Okay, make a notice roll for me.
It's a 1.
Did you roll both die?
For me, it's just a D4 for the notice.
Yes, and you'll
gotcha.
roll your D6 wild die with that also.
And that is a 3.
Okay. Also a note, if you roll a 1 on both die, that's a critical fail.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. So all right, standing here listening, you hear just the creaking of this house, whistling of the windows. It'd be kind of hard to hear anything else. You couldn't imagine them even saying they're hearing scratching. If a rodent or something was scratching under the bed, how would you hear it over the creaking of this house? That's kind of the thought that comes into your mind as you're just listening to the sounds the house is making. That's it.
All right. In that case, I'll walk down to the father's room.
Okay. Looking in here, you see just the same scene I described earlier to Archie. Are you glancing down at the scratch marks that were sketched?
I would like to take a closer look at those.
All right. Leaning down, bringing your lantern down. They're very easy to find if you know what you're looking for, and you see them. Go ahead and make. Do you have survival?
I do have survival.
All right, go ahead and make a survival roll.
Is a 4.
Okay. Looking at this was definitely not an animal. This scratch right here, this is from a person.
That's disconcerting. Is there any sign of like blood in the grain of the wood where it's been pulled up, or does it just look like a fingernail scratch?
Do you have investigation?
I do not. I have notice and I have survival, but that's
I'll let you do notice for that one.
okay. That is a 6.
On your D6, roll that again.
That is a 6.
Roll it again.
That is a 2.
Okay. All right. So, all right. You set the lantern down, and you actually get like on your hands and knees, and you lay down on your stomach here, getting as close to this scratch mark as you can. And as you're looking, there's dust bunnies. Like, you kind of clear some of it away, and as you're doing so, your fingertips touch something a little hard. And as you move some of the dust bunny away, you see a fingernail. A little bloodied underneath, but there is a fingernail broken off that lays here with this dust. And it, you can conclude, comes from the scratch that was not quite as deep, or didn't quite go as long.
Gotcha. I'm gonna holster my gun and pick up the nail and head back into the main room.
Okay. Raoul, you see Rowan coming back in.
Welcome back. Having fun?
Found a little something. I'm gonna just hold out my palm with the nail in it.
Is there any way I can like investigate to see if there's anything I can kind of discern from it that Rowan might have missed?
Sure. What skill are you trying to use here?
Um,
If there's nothing in particular, I'll say a notice roll is fine. But I wasn't sure if you were kind of thinking anything specific.
no, I was thinking if I had like some sort of I don't know, like biology skill or something, but not just
Gotcha.
closest thing I got would be like root science.
Okay.
6 on the d6. 7 total.
Okay. Looking at this, you see a little bit of blood on the inside where it was snapped off. You see it kind of cracked up part of the side. And as you're actually bringing it closer to you, you do make out a little bit of like remnants of nail polish on the actual top of the nail itself. Barely there, as if it was probably fading away already. Red.
Can I check both of our sleeping pals on their in their respective couches? See if their nails have like any hint of nail polish to themselves.
Yeah, you stand up and looking at their fingers, they have all their fingernails, and you don't see any nail polish or anything like that. And you can also just like manhandle them right now. You just pull up their arm. Yeah, you pull up their arm, look at their hand, and just you set it back down, but they don't know. They have no idea.
Wondering if it's might have been from the wife went missing. Looked like somebody got drugged down underneath that bed.
That's a much better theory than I had at first. That sounds likely, but I do worry that perhaps it's something under the guise of the mother. If the mother was fighting to not be dragged to wherever she may be at this point. It's possible whatever this creature is may be wearing her skin. Metaphorically. Possibly literally, but hopefully not.
Well, it is definitely strange when you ain't got nothing but boards under both beds, yet somehow somebody managed to disappear down there.
It reminds me of a story when I was young. Ma told me about a woman who would come and steal children in the night, but we can't really be a child at that age, I presume.
Yeah. Just kind of stand there for a little bit. I'm going to continue to just do some rounds kind of back and forth between the rooms while I'm awake and just mostly listening, but also just looking around for anything odd.
Okay, go ahead and make one more notice roll for me.
Okay. That's a 2.
Did you roll your d6 as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Got a 1 and a 2.
Woo! Yeah, walking around, it is so hard to hear anything over this creaking. And every time you think, oh, I'll move over to this room, it'll be better, your walking makes it creak even more, and it's just too hard to hear anything. Same with Archie's kind of patrol. You don't, nothing pops out at you. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything. Everything seems very normal in this house. And after a few hours, you head back to the main room.
Yeah. And then probably just wait it out until it's time to switch with Archie.
Okay. Yeah, after a little while, easy enough time to switch. It'd probably be nearing 4 a.m. So, this will probably be the last shift before sunrise.
Kind of gently shake Archie awake and say, got something for you to look at. I think I found what might have made that scratch ears, and I'm going to just set the nail just kind of in front of him.
Oh, it's looks like a fingernail.
Yeah, running theories it might have come from the wife, but don't know for sure.
Well found.
At this point, you hear the jiggling of the closet door in Tim's room.
I'm gonna just exchange a glance with the other two.
Yeah.
Like, did you guys?
Yeah.
Is that me?
Yes.
Little head
I think it's
count.
my turn to
1,
do
2,
rounds,
3.
but if you want to come with.
Yes.
I'll go with Archie. You want to keep an eye on these two, and I will head down.
Take a lantern.
I will grab a lantern and gun, and head down with Raoul.
Yeah, I think Raoul just doesn't even consider the lantern. Just like grabs his gun and like holds it in 2 hands and like kind of quickly opening the doors. Like he's not like running over there or anything, but he's kind of opening and just leaving the door open, not thinking of closing it.
Right. Yeah, so then you're following behind with the lantern.
Mm-hmm.
And Archie is staying to watch the sleeping.
Yeah, well, he sort of stood by but sort of leaning over, sort of looking behind, sort of thing.
To get a good view. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
he doesn't want to miss out.
Yeah, you watch them walk down into the dark hall. For a moment, they disappear in the darkness, but the lantern that Roan's holding provides enough light where you can at least see where they are, and you see them both enter the bedroom. You enter Tim's bedroom, and everything looks fine. Closet door is still closed.
I'm gonna go open the closet.
All right,
As he's like
over.
walking up, I'm gonna just pull back the hammer on my pistol. Very slow, kind of click.
All right, so you hear the click of the pistol, and then you hear that same jiggle of the doorknob from it just being grabbed and being too loose. You turn the doorknob, you pull open the closet door. It's just a closet. The clothes are in the same place that Archie left them when he kind of pushed through them earlier. And now, Roan, you hear slight scratch against the wood from underneath the bed.
In this room?
Yes, like right beside you. And before you turn to look, Tim's voice comes from the doorway. Archie, you hear it and you glance back, and Tim's not on the couch. Tim's voice comes from the doorway, and he says, "You made it mad." And as you kind of glance over to him, he says, "He doesn't want to stay under the bed anymore."
I'm gonna like look to the doorway when I hear that, and not seeing Tim, I will immediately look to the bed and like tap.
Okay, so you look to the doorway. You don't see Tim. You see the darkness from the doorway extends out. You can't see the light of the living room anymore. It's just a dark hallway carrying on. But you hear Tim as if he were standing right there in that doorway. As you're turning to glance back under the bed, you see just this long extended arm of some sort grab on to Tim's leg and yank. You see Tim in one quick flash slam down through the doorway onto his back and be dragged underneath the bed. You hear his own claws scratching against the floorboards as he is dragged, screaming underneath this bed. Archie, at this point, with this scream, you can see them. You can see them perfectly fine. And with this scream, as Tim is slammed down and dragged underneath the bed, you see Leonard pop up, like going from laying down to standing up in a split second. Pops up, and he just starts looking around, looking for Tim, and he's just shouting, "Tim, Tim!" And he just starts sprinting down the hallway. What would you like to do?
I'll follow after. I'll follow.
You start sprinting after the other two. What would you like to do?
How is this like one of those like metal frame? How heavy does this bed look?
Wooden frame.
Okay. I'm gonna look at Raoul and say, "Should we tip it over?"
Yes, let's.
All right. Grab an end and let it.
Yeah, in just a moment, you just grab onto the bed, and Raoul just runs over, grabs onto the other side, and both of you flip it. Both of you make a strength roll for me.
Is a 5.
3 for me.
Okay. Easy enough. You grab onto this bed. You more scoot it than anything, and then you're able to push it at least away from this little section. As you're pushing it away, you see, looking down at this, you see each individual floorboard seems to have been pushed up at certain points of this underneath this bed. So nothing is busted through. It looks like the floorboards were moved very specifically up and away to cause a pretty decent sized hole underneath this bed. You see Tim's scratch marks go all the way towards this hole. The hole, it's dark, and you just hear Tim screaming underneath. All of you together, what would you like to do? What is your intent, I guess I'm asking?
Holding a light, is it possible to see at all down into this thing, or based on the sound of Tim's scream, get a sense of how deep it might be?
You hear Tim scream. As of right now, it's underneath this room, and you hear it. You hear his scream being dragged under the house in the opposite direction. That is just beginning to happen, though, and as you're holding the lantern down, you see the ground below. It's maybe a couple 3 feet drop, if that. Maybe not even 3 feet.
Raoul is jumping in the hole.
I'll be right behind him.
Can I hear it go under? Can I hear it go underneath me?
Yes, I will say. So as you are sprinting up, you're making it to this doorway. You hear you hear Tim's scream, beginning to be directly underneath you, basically, and you hear his scream beginning to be carried off further down the house. You see Raoul immediately jump into this hole, and as he's crawling down, you see Rowan glance back at you and begin climbing into the hole as well. What would you like to do?
He'll. Oh, yes, and he will follow.
Okay. So you hear the screaming being dragged down. You hear Leonard. Wow, forgot his name for a second. You hear Leonard just screaming, "Tim, Tim!" And he runs up, and you see him in his just tired, dazed state slam down onto the floor where he hears Tim screaming, and you just see him clawing at the floorboards, trying to follow the sound as it's going further down the house. Yeah. So.
Okay. I would like to just say, just before I duck down, we'll bring your boy back, and then
all right.
disappear. Not that that'll be any reassurance to him at all, but.
First up, we had Raoul jump down into this hole in the floor. You jump down. You have to drop down to your knees and then actually go prone. Basically, you're army crawling underneath this house. Go ahead and make a notice check.
Alrighty. Ooh, 4 on the D4, 7 total. Let's see if the D6 is any better. 7.
7? Alright, so you basically just crawl enough because you hear Roan coming up behind you. So you crawl just enough to be out of the way, and you hear Tim screaming, stretch outward, and then abruptly stop. And as you're crawling forward, it is pitch black down here. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna keep crawling towards where I heard the sound going.
All right, so you just keep army crawling that direction. You can feel it just smells like earth down here. You can feel the cold dirt kind of soaking into your clothes as you're crawling along. Rowan, you come down right after Raoul, and you drop down onto your hands and knees. Do the same thing. You have to go prone, kind of crawl a little bit. You see his boots move up, and it is very dark in here. Do you have your lantern with you still?
If I'm army crawling, if it looked shallow enough to army crawl, I probably would have left it behind.
Left it up top, drop down.
Yeah, hop down. I'm gonna crawl. I'm gonna stay as close to his boots. I want his boots up my nose. I don't want to lose sight of him. So okay. I want to stay right behind him.
All right. Crawling forward, you, as you begin crawling, also hear Tim's screams just stop abruptly. It doesn't sound like they were muffled. It just stopped. Archie, the screams stop right as you're climbing down Like you have just stepped down into this hole. You're not quite on your hands and knees yet.
Yeah.
You had just yelled, "We'll bring your boy back up," and the screaming stopped. And you hear Leonard, his eyes go wide for a second, and he sits there for it seems like a while, but it's just a moment, and then he starts yelling for Tim again. Tim, why can't I hear him? And you just see him like banging down into the floor where he last was, just shouting down at the floor for Tim. What would you like to do?
Archie's very torn now. He doesn't. Just stay there, stay calm. Don't go anywhere. Is the lantern that was left by Rowan nearby?
Yes, it is sitting right beside the hole, basically. Yeah. Like it was just set there when he dropped to his knees.
Okay. Archie will take the lantern and sort of look to see how far his friends, his colleagues have gone.
Sure. Bringing the lantern down, you see Rowan's feet just beginning to move away. It is a very tight space. It's not easy to move quickly.
Okay. What is Leonard doing? Is he staying where he is, or is he?
He is still just banging on the floor, shouting. He might not even have heard you. He's just shouting Tim's name over and over. Just asking, why won't you answer me? Why won't he answer me?
We'll get to the bottom of this. You mark my words, sir. And Archie will follow under the floor with the lantern, so it would be very awkward. And
okay, scooting
and
down.
He isn't an army type, so it's very scrabbly.
All right. Okay, so at this point, it is mostly pitch black under this house. With Archie bringing this light down, it does cast heavy shadows in places, but also illuminates others. So it is still dark in front of you, just from him being directly behind you with this light. You're still crawling into darkness, but you see things beside you beginning to light up. As you are crawling further and further, Archie is probably considerably slower, moving with this lantern, like trying to keep it positioned. So Rowan and Raoul go as quickly as they can, just crawling through this, not mostly just caring about speed, getting towards where they heard Tim's screams. Both of you make a spirit roll for me.
Okay. 4.
2.
All right, so both of you come across, it's almost like this just waft of death. Just the smell of a decaying carcass hits your faces. You're both able to stomach it pretty well, but for a moment, Rowan freezes. You're hesitant to go forward. You're not sure if it's your relationship with the family. You're not sure if it's what you just saw come out from under that bed. But you're very hesitant to move forward. So you do freeze, at least for a moment. And as you continue forward, Raoul, in the darkness, moving forward, your elbow hits something squishy. Do you stop or do you keep going?
Raoul's gonna oh boy. Okay. Rule's gonna stop just momentarily and like poke at whatever this squishy thing is with his finger, and just take a lick of it off his finger.
All right, so you turn, poke, take a lick. I'm gonna have you roll a vigor roll.
Oh, that is good. I don't think this other was gonna be higher. 10.
10? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a 6 and a 4.
All right, so your elbow squishes into something. It is pitch black. You don't see what it is. You poke it, take a lick of it. That is something dead. And do you continue moving?
Yeah, I'll just keep moving on and be like, something dead to your left there. Careful, don't taste it. It's very bad.
Oh, she was saying, well, I wasn't planning on tasting anything dead.
All right, so you continue forward a little bit more. Rowan and Archie, you're almost matching paces now. Now that you have managed to catch up, you see Rowan hesitating as you're shifting forward with this lantern. What would you two like to do?
I'll see Rowan. Come on, that little boy needs us. I
kind of sort of
stiff upper lip and all that.
Shake myself a little bit and keep going. With Archie now abreast of me, can I see from the lantern light what Raoul ran into?
Yes, you see Raoul's boots disappearing as he's crawling.
There he goes.
He's just scooting along. And so you both have the lantern light as you're moving forward as a unit, basically. And as you're coming up, you see something mostly covered in like a thin layer of dirt and moss. As you're approaching it, you can see the spot where Raoul's elbow kind of shoved into a part of it. You see just like this flattening of it from the elbow.
What kind of shape is it, size-wise?
As you come up to it and you grab the lantern and kind of put it up closer to it, there's a moment where it's hard to make out what is what exactly from all of the dust or all of the dirt and almost like mud clumps, rocks, different mosses. And as you're looking, you see a woman's leg. You follow up that leg and you see a torso, and Rowan, you see Martha's face.
Gosh, well, if I was shook up before, I'm definitely shook up now. I'm gonna just kind of quietly mutter something to myself and kind of retch into the back of my hand.
What is Archie's reaction to this?
I think we found. Let's carry on, shall we? Whether the lad needs us.
I'll keep army crawling forward.
All right. Moving forward, all of you don't hear any signs of Tim. And as you're crawling, you two crawling together, Raoul crawling a little bit ahead of everyone. Raoul, you reach the other end of the home. You reach basically the boards covering the bottom of the house to the ground itself, and there hadn't been any signs of Tim. You kind of glance back. You see them both. You see their faces pretty clearly as they're crawling towards you with this awkward like lantern push coming along with it. And as all of you are able to see each other's faces from the light, you hear one loud shriek that definitely wasn't coming from Tim, and then you see light shine down from above you as the floorboards are busted up and out, as if something was in between you and slammed up into the actual floor of the home, bursting into the house. You see all the lights from the living room shining in, almost disorienting for a moment as just this insane amount of lights come down. You hear it break through the floorboards of the home. You hear crashing up top. You hear Leonard screaming and shouting.
I think as soon as possible, I'm going to try to get up through the hole that it made into the main room.
All right, yeah, everyone is just climbing that. Okay. As you see this happen, just burst up. You hear Leonard shouting. You hear crashing. You see the flickering of different lights. The lights are flickering in different ways, and all of you actually make it to this spot at the same time. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and draw some action cards. All right, so first we have Rowan.
Sweet.
And we have Archie.
Ooh.
You can spend a Benny to redraw if you'd like.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll see how things go.
All right, we have Raul. And we have me, whatever we're gonna call me right now. Oh. All right, so you hear the sound of wood crashing and splintering upstairs. You hear Leonard just gasp in pain, and then you hear a body slump to the floor. And then you just hear that same shriek from whatever this thing is, shrieking, and it's actually moving down the house towards Leonard's room now. We'll say that is that one's turn, and Rowan is up.
I want to get up through the hole that it made as quickly as possible.
All right, yeah. Crawling over, you can easily just like stand straight up, climb through. You can get through pretty easily.
And I'm just gonna sprint after this thing.
Okay, so not even like looking around you. You climb up. You actually put your hand in hot wax from one of the candles that had been tipped over. Hurts for a second, but that's it. And then you just sprint down the hallway. You kind of just shove yourself through. Are you heading all the way to Tim's room?
I'm heading after this thing, which you said was going to Leonard's room, or is it going to Tim's room?
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Tim's room. It was to the other side of the house, yeah.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, in that case, I'm going all the way.
Okay, yeah, sprinting down the hallway. You head through the doorway of Tim's room, and your heart is just pounding in your ears. You're glancing around. Everything's how you left it in here, and you don't see any signs of anything.
I'm just going to shout over my shoulder, "It's not in here!"
All right. Next up, we are to Raul.
Okay. Same thing. Just gonna get out of the hole as quickly as possible.
Easy enough.
And I am gonna head to Leonard's room. Yeah, not Tim's room. Leonard's room specifically.
All right, yeah. You climb up out. You see candles and lanterns knocked over everywhere. You even actually grab one and pick it up before it sets the couch on fire. And you then head over to Leonard's room. Walking through the doorway, you have one of the lanterns there, pushing it through. The room looks just as it had before.
It's not in Leonard either. It must be somewhere else.
And at that, Archie, you're up.
Hey, Archie will struggle out of the hole, and sort of stand. I guess I'm sort of kind of mid-distance either way. Where can we see Leonard? Is he?
They rushed in either direction. You kind of stand up. You heard the crashing. You're looking around. Mm-hmm. You actually see. First, you see the cabinets in the kitchen completely shattered and splintered and broken down. You see Leonard had collided into these and fallen down onto the kitchen floor. You see him laying there, a little bit of blood pooling around.
Ooh, okay. I'll sort of go over to Leonard and check he's okay.
Okay, you rush over to Leonard. You kind of roll him over. He seems to have a pretty good scrape on like the back of his shoulder. Doesn't appear to have any head wounds. He is unconscious, and he's just bleeding from his shoulder. That's where the blood is coming from.
Okay. Is there anything, some sort of cloth or anything I could grab and just sort of
if you have
stem
anything,
the flow?
If you have anything on you, if not, there are plenty of dirty rags in here.
I'll look at the rags and decide to use my own personal handkerchief.
Okay.
And because it seems a bit cleaner, and I'll sort of just place it on there and sort of try and sort of stick it under a shirt or something just to.
All right. Do you have a? Can't remember if it's called healing or medicine in this.
I don't have either.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you go ahead and roll a d4.
Okay.
And subtract 2.
Okay. Is that with? I don't get a d6 for this.
You will actually.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay. The boss. Oh, I've got a 1 on the d4 and a 4 on my d6.
So 4 minus the 2.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you have laid this this cloth. How are you positioning it exactly? Are you using anything else?
I was just going to sort of open his shirt up a little bit, just sort of stick it under, use the actual shirt to kind of hold it down while sort of more pressing matters maybe around.
Sure thing. The shirt, you just kind of pull it up, shove the cloth underneath,
exactly.
Set it down.
Just to give it a bit more something to soak in, you know.
Right.
Just to
Easy
slow
enough.
it down a bit.
Easy enough.
Okay.
At this, just to see how the order of events go here, we'll draw another set of action cards. So we have Rowan, Archie, didn't really want to focus, but it's a jack, Raoul, and me. I'm gonna spend a Benny to redraw. Worse. All right. So, that being said, Archie, is there anything you would like to do right off the bat here? You've heard both of your teammates say it's not in here. Nothing's in here.
I will have a quick look round where I am in the kitchen. That would be my first port of call would be just to check my immediate surroundings, because obviously I've just come straight to this man without checking corners and all that kind of thing.
Right. Pushing this cloth in here, you immediately look around both directions. The room seems clear.
Okay. I'll just call out. There's nothing in the kitchen other than Leonard and me.
Is there anything else?
If I take it Leonard's clearly still alive. You did say that, didn't you?
He's.
As far
you
as
can
I
still
can
see his chest is rising and falling. Pretty.
Okay.
Yeah, easy to see.
Okay, I'll stand and just sort of face towards the main room, sort of back. So I'll just stand next to Leonard, just sort of.
Okay. In that case, you see a shadow stretch up the wall for a moment, and right before you yell out, you see a hand come up. You see Tim's hand come up, and he's trying to climb up out of this hole.
The hole we came out of?
Yeah.
Can I still do something?
Sure.
I would like to run over there and take his hands.
Yeah, you see that you rush over, you look down, and he's just looking up with just this pale face, and you reach down and grab onto his arm. You can pull him up basically by his arm, set him in a standing position. And now the two of you can go simultaneously, or I think technically it would be Rowan first.
Okay. And so I just want to notice anything on the way in. I'm gonna. Could I feasibly grab a lantern and jump back down into the hole in a turn, or would I? Okay.
Yeah. I'd say yeah. You can sprint over. You sprint over. You see him pulling Tim up out of the hole. Grab onto the lantern. You want to jump back into that hole or the hole in Tim's room?
That one, because that's what I think we've all got eyes on right now.
Sure. As Tim is pulled out of this hole, you just drop back down, slam down onto your hands and knees with the lantern beside you.
I'm just looking around at this point.
All right, go ahead and make a notice roll.
That is a 4 and a 6.
So you maxed on both?
Yes.
All right, I'd say roll the 6 again.
Okay. That is a 4.
Sweet. All right, so looking around, you see with what light this sheds underneath, you are alone down here. You see, you can't unsee Martha's body over at the side. You know exactly where that still is, but looking around, you are entirely alone down here.
So, can't see nothing down here. Y'all see anything up there?
Raoul?
So there's like a lot of candles and different lights around the house, right?
Mostly just in the living room.
Just in the living room. Can I go back to the living room and like place candles in front of Tim's like bedroom door?
Sure. Yeah, I'll say you can start bringing light sources over to Tim's room.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
And I guess can I just like mostly listen out to see if I hear anything in the house other than obviously our compatriots?
Sure, make a notice roll.
Okay, that's good. Oh, go d6. 6.
All right. Listening, as you are moving these light sources, we'll say, Archie has pulled Tim to probably the couch or something, sitting him down, looking him over, making sure he's okay. Did Rowan stay down below, or did he come back up?
I'm gonna stay down here for a minute and just keep looking around.
All right, staying down, keeping an eye out. Raoul, it's probably your second trip. You brought a couple candles, and now you're bringing lanterns for better light, and you set them down. And the moment you set them down and you go to stand up to go grab some more, you hear the creaking of the closet door inside of Tim's room.
Okay.
And you hear just this dark, almost like wheezy breathing coming from inside.
Okay. If I can, I think I'll just kind of like yell out, "Over here!"
All right. For the moment, we'll say we're out of combat. Raoul has called you over. What would you like to do? We have probably like 5 light sources at the doorway of Tim's room at this point.
I would like to make my way to Tim's room under the house.
Okay.
And I'm gonna kind of shout up through the floor. I'm going underneath. You want to take topside?
Roger.
Just sort of awkwardly crawl.
Sure.
That direction.
Archie would like to move Leonard into the living room onto the couch if he can.
Sure thing.
So the two of them are sort of together, and he will try and do a better job than he did previously by sort of keeping an eye on what's happening in the bedroom and the two wards.
Okay, easy enough. It takes Rowan a little bit to get over there. Raoul, are you waiting for Rowan to come up before doing anything?
Yeah, I was gonna wait for Rowan to kind of be assured in their place.
Okay,
underneath.
yeah. So Rowan comes up from the hole underneath Tim's bed. You can see inside of this room, you can see the closet door is actually, it's not fully latched. You see it's like at that point where it's not quite cracked, but the latch is just sitting. Just one little push would latch it, but it is still technically open, and you hear the wheezing coming from inside.
Okay. Yeah, once Rowan's in place, then I'll just kind of go over and just toss it open like the end of my gun.
Use the gun to push the door open?
Yeah.
Okay. Rowan, what are you doing while he's walking over to do this?
I will have climbed out of the hole. I want to kind of position myself between the hole and the closet, and then just train my gun on the door.
Cool. All right, so you have your gun aimed directly at the door. Raoul walks over, pushes his gun up against it, pushes the door open. As soon as the door is pushed, you hear just the and then as it comes open, for a moment you think it's just the normal closet, and then you realize you don't see the clothes, and then you realize you actually don't see anything. It's just all darkness. And as you're making this realization, a hand reaches out, grabs onto your gun, and is gonna attempt to just yank you into the closet with it.
Okay.
Go ahead and make a strength roll for me.
Okay. Oh, that's not gonna help. I would like to use a buddy because both of my dice came up as ones.
Oh, okay.
So with a buddy, do I re-roll both of the dice or just one?
Yep, you'll just start over, basically. Yeah.
Well, that is at least not a 1. Oh, that's much better. Okay, 7.
Ooh, I also got a 7.
Hey.
So I'm gonna say, this arm reaches out. You don't see an elbow ever actually appear. It's just a forearm as it just extends outward, grabs onto this gun, and it just twists slightly as it pulls. You are not letting go of this gun. You hang onto it and it pulls you, but you do just secure one hand and bring your other hand up to grab onto the door frame. You are holding yourself with kind of your boot propped up too at the bottom, holding onto this door frame as this thing is trying to pull you into the closet, and you hear this screech. I need both Rowan and Raoul to roll a spirit roll for me.
I would say 4.
I got 4 as well.
All right, so you feel that same feeling that Leonard was telling you about before, like the wet blanket just suffocating you. You feel almost as if that blanket was trying to wrap around you, trying to just envelop you, and you just shake this off. You're not sure what this is, but you're pretty sure you can kill it. And just that thought alone is making its fear have no effect on you right now. All right, now, Rowan. So getting some high cards. Archie, I had to jinx you.
No, that's fair enough. He isn't quite sure what's happening.
Raoul?
Ooh. I'll use a bunny on that.
All right. Okay, and just to keep the cards in order, I'm gonna draw mine. And your redraw.
Oh.
Is
I
it the
don't know.
same?
It's 7
Yeah.
hearts.
Okay, it's a little higher.
Yeah.
All right. So to kick this off, we have Rowan. You've watched this forearm come out, grab onto the gun, slam Raul up against the door frame. He's holding onto it to keep himself from going into this dark closet. What would you like to do?
As soon as I see him getting pulled forward, the first thing I'm actually going to do is just shoot right into the closet.
Sweet. Make a
Just
shooting roll.
straight at this thing.
And your shooting roll will be your shooting die and also your wild die still.
Yep. Okay, that is this. 5, 6. That is an 8.
An 8. All
8.
right. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. That is, so it's 2d. Let me just double check what the one is on this one. Real quick. Let's see. That is 6.
All right. Okay, so you just aim directly into this darkness.
Just straight into the dark.
Fire off a shot, and as you do, you hear it impact something. You're not quite sure if the sound was flesh or wood necessarily, but you hear it impact, and as it does, you see the arm tense up against the gun and begin to pull even harder. Is there anything else you would like to do?
I want to grab Raul. Just with my
All right.
free hand, I'm just going to grab his back to
Yeah,
try to
so
keep him from going any further forward.
Yeah, you fire off one, reach forward, you grab onto like his clothes or like his shoulder.
His shoulder.
Okay,
Just
yeah,
get a
reach
grip
up,
on him.
grab onto the shoulder. And that is your turn. Now, Raul's actually first.
Okay. Pretty much similar to Rowan's. I'm just gonna hold. I guess it's not reasonable. No, okay, yeah, still going. So I'm gonna put my boot up against like the door and kind of try to keep bracing myself with one of my feet, and then just pull on the trigger for my bullard.
All right, yeah, it's already trying to pull you in, so it's already aimed kind of in that direction.
All right, let's see if there's any higher, probably not. Oh wow, 12.
Nice. Roll damage for that.
11.
Nice. All right, so you know that the moment you let go of this door frame, it's gonna have a huge advantage from pulling you in. So you brace your foot a little bit better, aim the gun best you can with your body, and then as soon as you let go, you reach down. It's already beginning to pull you in, but you pull that trigger. The jolt of the gun kind of helps you back up just a little bit more. You hear it slam into wood or a body, you're not quite sure, but at that, it does let go of the gun, and its hand kind of retracts back in, and you're no longer being pulled in. Is that all for your go?
Yeah, I'll just like push down the lever and get ready for another shot, but it's only got one rate of fire, so that'll be my
All
turn.
right, so you, do you back up any, or?
No, actually, I think Raul's gonna stay right there.
Stay right where you are, pull back the lever, pull it up for like a better aim, more of what you're used to. Aim up, and at this point, you're both looking into the darkness, the shadows, and then you're not sure if you were expecting to see something or if you were expecting for it to go away. But in this brief moment staring into this dark closet, there's only a moment of silence before you see two long arms come out, grab onto the door frame, and you see its head push forward. And you see just this long-faced skeletal, almost like dripping with shadow. It's nothing you could explain to anyone. Seeing this thing standing in front of you, shadows drip off of it, and it's like got this skeletal form to it. As it steps forward, it reaches both claws outward towards you, both of you having shot it already. It's gonna swipe down at both of you, making two claw attacks, one towards each. And as it stands up fully, you see its head actually, it has to like lean over to not hit its head on the roof or on the ceiling, as it's just long and just dank, like just lanky, slamming down at both of you. Let's see here. All right, so it here's for the roll against Rowan. Okay, and here's for the roll against Raoul. What is your parry, Raoul?
2.
Okay. Raoul, this claw comes down and it would have sliced probably through your jugular, but you reach up, you actually turn your gun and block the claws with your gun. You feel a little scratch against your face, but its claw does not get you. Rowan, I rolled a critical failure to attack you. So, cinematically, how would you like this claw attack towards you to play out? And if you want, you can lead this into your next turn if you'd like. Any certain attack or any certain position you wanted this creature in to attack. How do you want this, the worst case scenario for the creature to play out?
If it's possible to have it just miss spectacularly, but also in its swipe kind of just leave its entire torso just wide open in doing so, I'll just kind of duck my head out of the way as it kind of swipes and just leaves itself like wide open.
Sure. Yeah, so as it swipes down, you just make the slightest little duck and it slams its arm past you. It's really disturbing now at this point because you see its elbow, and its elbow is like over your head. Its hand is resting flat on the ground, forearm up, its elbows over your head, almost like in a spider sort of situation going on here, but with its arms. And as it slams down, its claws slam into the wood, and you just hear the scratching of its claws in the woods. The other one, still being held by your gun, its arms are wide open at this point. Its chest is entirely exposed. Archie, you hear chaos breaking out in Tim's room. And you hear the shrieking and wheezing of this creature too. You know something's in there. They're fighting something.
He will quickly ask Leonard, do you have a gun? Or anything?
Leonard, sitting super dazed on this couch, just looking, and he points. You see a little gun belt hanging by the front door. And there seems to be one revolver inside of it.
Okay. Archie will go and grab that.
Okay.
And then make his way to the room.
Sure. You
because his friends sound like they're in trouble.
You bust through the doorway, basically. Coming in, you see this creature. You see it tall, lanky, arms stretched out like a spider. You see its face, long, skeletal. You see shadows dripping off of it. I need you to make a spirit roll.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. All right. There it is. Still with the wild.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. 5 is the highest.
Okay. So you too feel this fear deep in your bones, deep in your soul, just from seeing this thing. There's a moment where you want to turn around and you want to run back the other way, and you want to go out the front door, and you want to forget any of this ever happened. But that moment fades as you are looking at these two people. One of them had just dodged, the other one's holding a claw at bay with his gun. You're not scared. I mean, you are scared, but it's not turning you away. Yeah. This is what you're here for. Me. This is what you're here for. What would you like to do?
I would like to shakily point my gun and fire.
All right. Do you have a shooting skill?
I do.
Okay.
I would like to use a Benny for that, please. If
sure.
I could. Cross one off. I just get to re-roll both.
Yeah.
Well, 4. Both got 4. So.
Okay.
Ooh. That is a mighty 12.
Okay.
Nice.
6 and a 5 plus your 1.
All right, so you sprint into this room. You see this horrific sight, and you just put your arm up, shaking, and just fire. And as you do, you see the bullet just slam into the center of this thing's chest. And as it does, you hear that same sound that you've heard before. You know, all of your shots are making contact. As it slams into it, you see it like take the impact, and then its head looks over, and it just looks directly at Archie.
Hello.
All right. Next round we have Rowan. Ooh, everybody gets a Benny.
Nice.
Oh,
Sweet.
Go ahead and add those real quick.
spend a penny, get a penny.
There you go. Everybody gets a Benny, and you get to choose when you would like to go. Here is Archie.
Nice.
Raul. And me. Ooh. All right, so up first we would have this creature, unless
I would like to go first.
Sure, go for it.
If possible, I want to kind of sidestep because it turned towards Archie, so I want to get a little bit more in between him and it.
Okay.
And as I'm moving, I have quick draw, so I'm going to pull out my second gun, and I would like to shoot it with both.
Okay, go for it.
Sweet. And then I also have ambidextrous, so I don't know if that's for melee only or if it's also for ranged.
We'll look into it more later, but I'll say right now it'll count.
Okay. That is a 6.
Okay. So that was for one attack. Go ahead and roll for your second one.
Okay. That is a 5.
Okay. All right, roll damage for both of those.
All right. It was 5 and 5.
Okay, so you pull out your other gun and you just start firing into this thing. Each shot slams into it. You see it hitting, and each bullet hole makes a little more shadow just leak out, and it looks like it drips onto the floor, but it doesn't seem to actually be leaving anything. You can see blood spraying out onto the wall, but it just looks like shadow. Like you're not sure if there's actually anything physically coming out of this creature. Yeah, both hits hit pretty hard, and it was looking at Archie, and with those hits, it turns and it's looking at you. You see it just kind of moving, looking at each of you, just standing over you, like almost trying to figure you out in a way. Is that your turn?
Yeah.
All right. It is up now. And it is going to open its mouth, and its jaw kind of elongates and just stretches down as you hear this just mournful shriek coming from it. And as it does so, you see its eyes moving from each of you, trying to decide which one to go after. And then it settles on Rowan, and it stops, looks at you, its jaws just opening up, and then it's gonna come down with both of its just claws. It's not trying to scratch you, it's trying to impale you with its claws. What's your parry?
5.
Okay. They're both coming in this direction. We'll go ahead and call it the same attack, the same critical failure. So how would you like to resolve this?
If I could have it when it comes after me, kind of just come out of the closet more and just expose its like side to these guys, just so they can see more of it.
Okay, so yeah, we'll say as it's coming out, you see it lunging, and you actually take a step back and then kind of hop up onto Tim's bed. And as you're standing on the bed, it comes out, it slams all of its claws into like the bed frame, just the end of it there, wood splintering, shattering everywhere. slams into that, doesn't get you at all, but it has now fully stepped out of this closet. You see what appears to be like a humanoid torso, just exaggerated. Like it's very, very long. The ribs are very small, and then the hips kind of extend out, almost in a way that makes its back legs almost look frog-like in a sense, because they come out and extend kind of spidery like its arms do. But it is now fully out of this closet, and it is massive, kind of like bunched up, taking up the majority of this room, but its sides are now exposed to both of you. All right, that is its turn. Archie, you're up.
He will just take another shot, really.
Okay, sure. I'd like to think Leonard's watching from the couch and he just sees the room lighting up with gunfire and just doesn't see anything else. Just like pop, 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 pop.
Oof. A 3 and a 1.
All right, so you you go to shoot, and this thing, you kind of shoot as it's coming out, as it's lunging, and your shot goes wide and actually slams into the wood on the other side of the bedroom.
That seems fair.
Missing entirely. And that was 2 shots, so keep track of that one.
Yes, I am.
Okay. And that is your turn. Would you like to move anywhere?
Having missed, I would just like a little step back.
All right, you kind of step back, almost like against the open door.
Yeah.
Trying to steady your hand. Like you grab onto your wrist, trying to steady your hand. Cool. Raul?
With this thing a bit more exposed now, I'm just gonna like put the barrel of the gun right up against its side and just.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
No, I will use a bunny on that.
Will or won't?
Will.
Okay.
It's not meant to be. Just 2 2s.
Wow, yeah, it wasn't meant to be. You're getting my luck. All right, so you shove the barrel of the gun against this thing. It makes contact. You fire, and the bullet splinters through a couple of the ribs, but it seems to just get skin as it's blown outward. It doesn't seem to have affected this thing at all. The bullet slams into the door frame on the other side of the door where Archie is standing.
Okay. Then I will like pull the lever on it and step back a little bit, towards where, kind of like behind Rowan, where the hole is, like kind of between Rowan and the hole.
Okay, sounds good. Stepping back a little ways, this thing kind of looks, and it's like it wants to slash towards you, but there's not really a lot of room in here. And it's finding it hard to move around. At this point, I'm gonna have all of you make a spirit roll for me.
I got a 6 and a 4. Do I re-roll the 6?
Yeah, reroll the 6.
I got an 11.
So I got 7.
Ooh.
And what was Rowan's?
4.
4? Okay, so all of them succeed. You seeing this creature in its full capacity, you can't help but kind of have this odd familiarity. You definitely would remember seeing something like this, but there's just something about this feeling and something about this fear that is just tickling the back of your mind. And the best I can describe it is, you know when you smell something that you only smelled when you were a kid, and you kind of have that sensory memory? It's the same thing. It's just this sensory memory of fear. And with that, Rowan,
Ooh, nice.
this really likes you.
I was
This,
just gonna
this
say,
session
I'm
really likes you.
been real friendly.
Archie. Raoul.
Okay.
And the boogeyman.
Oh. That can't be good.
Great.
That's exciting.
Mm.
All right, so Rowan, you're up first.
Okay. Is it still have its attention on me?
It does.
Okay. I am still up on the bed. I'm gonna go ahead and just shoot at this thing again. So that is this with both guns. That is a 6, and that is a that's not gonna hit. That's a 2.
Okay.
So one of them, and that is 6 damage.
All right, do you want to use a Benny to re-roll that other shot?
Yeah, I think I will.
Okay.
So that is a 4.
All right, that will hit. Roll damage for that one.
4.
All right. So firing bow shots from this thing, it is just looking up at you. And you just fire off into basically like its chest. You see it just soaking in these bullets, just dripping with shadow. And as it's looking up at you, you see this smile just stretch all the way up across his face, almost like it's coming off his face. Like it just keeps smiling. It just keeps going and going. And as it does so, it's going to reach out with one hand, grab onto your ankles, and try and pull you so that you go prone on the bed, and then just stab you with the other hand. So go ahead and make an agility roll. And it's going to be versus mine. So
That is a 3.
okay. So it does grab onto your ankles, pull you. You see Rowan pulled, ankles just pulled up, back, slamming down against the bed. As he is slammed down, this thing reaches over. Oh, let me see here. Get it. What is your parry?
5.
Okay. And what is your toughness?
4.
All right, so you watch as Rowan's pulled over, and then finally these claws stab into Rowan's abdomen. The claws slam down. You hear them pierce, at least one of them pierce all the way through. You hear it piercing the bed underneath him, slamming down, and it's just gonna keep its claws there and look over and just basically just roar and shriek at the both of you. That is his turn. Raoul, you're up.
Okay. We have like a couple of candles next to the hole too, right?
Yeah.
I want to grab one of the candles, and I'm gonna take out my oil flask, and I want to toss both of them in the closet.
Okay. Just in the closet? You don't even have to, I won't even have you roll for that. I'll have you just toss both. As you hear the noise of them hitting the closet wall, there's a moment before you see just flame starting up, burning up, lighting up the entire closet wall. You see its claws just deep in Rowan's abdomen, glance back and look over at the fire coming out of the closet. Anything else?
Okay. Is it like visibly reacted other than just noticing there's a fire?
It looked at it, and then it just is continuing to shriek towards the two of you.
Okay. Would I still be able to take a shot or no?
Sure.
Okay. Let me try that then. 4.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Okay. Here we go. Ooh, 14.
All right. Yeah, so you toss those in, and then after you do so, you just position your hands, take a step back, put the gun against your shoulder and fire. And as you do so, it's shrieking at both of you, and as it turns towards you, the bullet hits it like in the neck, and you hear the shriek kind of gurgle a little bit as the shadow is just dripping out. And then you see it kind of swallow almost and look at you and shriek at you even louder and almost more angry.
That'll be it.
Right. Okay. Archie.
Okay. I would like to use maybe an occult skill and see if I can sort of figure out what this thing is. Maybe just sort of watching all this happening, and it does say +2 so at the thing. So is this because I'm a scholar?
Yes.
So
yeah. You'll add +2 to your
the highest.
total. Yeah.
Okay. Oh! I got an 8 on a D8.
Roll again.
That's a 3. So 8, 9, 10, 13.
Nice. Okay, so there is this moment. Archie has been just focusing on that weird sensory memory. You're confused as to why this feels familiar to you. You've definitely never been in a situation like this before. And for a moment, you're thinking back, and this memory clicks. Just this memory of being young and being afraid of what's under your bed or what's in your closet. Why is that a memory or why is that a feeling that all kids go through? What's in the closet? What's under the bed? And something clicks in your mind. Just a book you've come across, nothing you even took seriously. Something written by a mother. Someone who was concerned about how afraid their child was. Something that became widely known as a tall tale of the boogeyman. Something adults can't see until they encounter. Something adults don't believe. Something that drains the life from the home it's placed in, trying not to be discovered. As adults, the boogeyman isn't real. If something was hiding in your closet, you'd see it. If something was hiding under your kid's bed, you'd see it. But now as this thing is standing before you, all of these stories are just playing in your head as quickly as they can. And with that roll, the one thing that all of these stories seem to agree on: adults can't kill a boogeyman, but a kid can. Is there anything you would like to do?
If I can, I will back out of the room and run to the living room. And,
Are you?
And I'm going to collect young. I forgot his name.
Tim.
The boy. Tim. Tim.
We're
That's
both
it.
like,
Of course.
Tim!
And I'll just drag him towards the monster.
Oh,
We'll
this
never
poor
know.
child.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a man of study, not of emotion. Yeah. So it'll say, it'll try and say something say, you can kill it, Tim. Come, help us kill it. You're the one who can do this, or something. Try and sort of show, give him the strength that that he can do it, that he can end his nightmare himself, sort of thing, and save his family.
I will say, make a. I'm trying to pull up the stats here. Let's see.
I have persuasion. It's
Persuasion?
a D4. Okay, I'll do my best. With my D6. With the extra D6.
Yes.
Thank goodness. The D6 is a 5.
Okay. All right, so you've at least convinced him to come with you. He's not fighting. He's not trying to pull out of your arms or anything. He's running along and he just seems to be taking all of this information in. He's so tired. He doesn't seem to comprehend exactly what is happening yet. And then as you pull him through the doorway and he looks up and he sees this creature.
And I would also be sort of handing him the gun.
Here, kid, have a gun.
Yeah.
Oh!
Enjoy.
It's just the manifestation of all your fears, kid. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
That's right.
Okay,
I'd just like to say, me as a person would never do that.
Thank you for the clarification. So he looks up at this creature. His eyes get so wide and you see his entire body just start shaking. You've placed the gun basically in his hands. We'll say you're sort of positioning his fingers where they need to be. You're holding the gun behind him
sure.
to keep it in his hands, and he's just staring up at this thing. That is your turn. And
Okay.
here we go for quite possibly the last round of combat, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Okay. Rowan. Archie.
Okay.
Raoul. You have one Benny left.
Yeah. No, I'll keep it.
Okay. The boogeyman.
Okay.
And now, Tim.
Oh!
Let's go, kid.
What? Yeah, boy. Oh my gosh.
Am I a joke to you? Okay, let's see.
I sensed the force was strong in the boy.
What in the world? And I don't know if this is actually how it goes, but it's how it goes now. Since he's an ally, you'll all get a Benny.
Oh.
Dang. Sweet.
So first up is Archie.
Who decides when Tim goes?
Tim.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, Tim. I will just say, you can do it, Tim. You can end this.
Okay. I will say, with you standing behind him, holding, trying to hold his hand steady, once he decides to pull this trigger, I'll give him a bonus for you aiding him, basically.
Okay,
If this is what you're doing.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm doing.
Perfect. So, yeah, you're kind of kneeling down, comforting him, telling him.
Just try to sort of
It's gonna
calm
be
him, sort
okay.
of keep
Yeah.
him.
Okay. I'm gonna have him do something. All right. You can still feel his elbows just trembling, and you're just trying to keep them steady as he's looking. You even see a tear just streaming down the side of his cheek as he's just staring up.
Awful.
Now are we up to? I can't see those right well. That one's got a glare on it. What is that? A 9?
I think so, yeah,
Yes.
9.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're up to Rowan.
Okay. Well, I will have let out a lovely as I got impaled into the bed.
Just ignore that, Tim.
Yeah,
Just ignore
claws
that.
still in, by the
I'll also probably have reflexively let go of one of my guns and just kind of grabbed where its claw is sticking into my stomach. And if I have the time to get my wits about me, I will try to shoot it with my offhand.
Absolutely. You're holding on. You feel the blood like soaking into the bed right underneath you, and you just bring your gun up with your offhand directly at it. Go ahead and fire.
Going on pure adrenaline here, folks. That is a 4.
4 hits.
Okay. That is a 6.
Okay. All right. So with that shot, the gunshot scares Tim. Like he thinks he did it for a moment. Like he jumps and he's looking down at the gun, and there's almost a moment of like, that wasn't so bad, and you kind of see him almost like composing himself for a moment. He looks over, he sees this horrific sight of someone he knows personally just pinned down into this bed by these things' claws, and you just see him looking, and then he actually not the thing to do, but this is a child, he actually straightens his arms and holds the gun out directly towards this creature, not firing just yet, but Rowan, you feel a little bit of blood like at the corner of your mouth there. Is that your turn?
I'll probably let out a good like cough, but that's it. Yeah, that's all I would have had the wits to do.
Yeah. Roll. No, just kidding. Okay, so this thing no, just kidding. This thing pulls its claws up, releasing you from being pinned from this bed. You're still laying there, and now your wound is bleeding profusely. Pulls the claws out, looks over, and it seems to have just noticed that Tim is in the room. And it looks over, and you see it looking down at Tim, and it shrieks at Tim again. Archie, I'm gonna let you choose persuasion or just a spirit roll, whichever one is higher for you.
I will go for spirit,
Okay.
please. Ooh, 5.
Okay. So as this thing turns and screeches towards Tim, you're standing behind, and you're assuring him in his ear, it's okay. You're the only one that can do this. You can do it. It's just kind of repeating the same things you were doing before. Don't be afraid. And at the sight of Tim not running or being absolutely terrified of this thing, the creature now turns its full attention towards Tim. Hands kind of down on the floor. It looks down. It screeches at Tim. And we're gonna say, for cinematic purposes, Tim and this creature are gonna go at the same time. This creature is gonna take one slash towards Tim. And Tim is going to pull the trigger. You feel the gun jump in his hand, and with your hands over his hands as he pulls down on this trigger and jumps himself. All right, so you see in one swift motion, these claws come down, the gun fires off, and you hear the bullet splinter into the wood behind, having missed. And you see this claw come down and slice into the arm that is holding up, one of the arms that is holding the gun. Tim's arm is just sliced open. He lets go of the gun with that arm, and you just see him turning his head and looking down at this slice. And that is both of their turns. Raul, you are up.
Is Tim still like actually holding the gun in his other hand though? Or
Yes.
Did he completely drop
Yeah.
it?
With Archie's help, yes, is still holding the gun in the other hand.
Okay. That's what I want and go perfectly, but I'm Raoul is gonna try like running into the monster and like just basically football tackling it to keep it away from Tim.
Okay. Go ahead and make. Let's do athletics.
Okay. Okay. 10.
10. Also 10.
As the two.
All right, so as you sprint over to this thing, you slam into this weird torso. You're not quite sure where would throw this thing off balance, and you slam into it, and it does push it. It slams it into the wall. You see its arm come up and kind of hold the door frame to steady itself, and it turns towards you. You haven't tackled it over, but you have gotten its attention. And
Okay.
it's looking towards you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hold on as tightly as I can.
All
Just
right,
try
trying
to keep
to-
this thing from moving.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Rowan. Oh my god!
Oh, business! What is happening? Oh my gosh.
Incredible.
What?
What?
Archie. Raoul.
Okay.
Ooh.
I was thinking of spending a bunny on that, but I don't think I need to.
The boogeyman. I'm gonna spend a penny. But first, I'm gonna draw for Tim.
Okay. Oof, okay.
All right. So, Rowan can go whenever you would like.
I would like to go first.
Okay, go for it.
So I want to do two things. First, I want to take as much time as I can, probably because my arm is shaking a little bit. I want to aim well above where Raoul is. I want to try to aim at this thing's head.
Okay, so there are two things you can do here.
Okay.
A called shot gives you a -2 penalty. So you can do it that way and take the chance of your -2, or you can take a risk and you can spend your entire turn aiming.
Would shouting something also be a free action then in that case?
Yeah.
Or okay.
So it would give you a bonus. So with the called shot, I think it makes it just a.
I think because I do want to get a shot off in this turn, I think I will call the shot for this one.
Okay.
In that case.
Okay.
So I'm gonna aim for its head, and as I kind of lift up my gun, I'm gonna say, "Over here, you son of a bitch!" And I'm gonna shoot at it.
Beautiful.
I want to get its attention. That is a math. Sorry, that is a 4.
Counting that -2 already?
Yes.
Okay, 4 hits. Go ahead and roll your damage for that.
And that is a 4.
Nice. All right, so you shout out at this thing, kind of aim, steady your hand as best that you can, fire off. You see the bullet slam into this thing's like jaw, come out the other side. You see shadow spray up on the door frame itself, and it kind of takes this hit, looks over directly at you, roars, and pushes itself off this door frame like it's coming for you next.
boy.
All right. Okay. And everyone gets a Benny for that Joker as well.
Oh.
So
You guys
many
are-
pennies.
Yeah,
Rolling in
seriously.
bennies.
There were no more to give, Archie. You've maxed out on bennies.
Oh, have I? Oh, I can't have
Max
any.
is 5, yeah.
Oh, fair enough. That's fair enough. Goodness.
Woo. Wow. Okay. Raoul, you're up.
Okay. Difficult as it be, I think same thing. Just gonna try to push this thing like back up against the wall, so it has to like at least brace itself against me pushing it. Just trying to keep it away from both Rowan at this point and Tim.
Okay, yeah, it's pushed off the wall. You're pushing it up against, trying to keep it on the wall, and it's just looking over at Rowan with this anger. Go ahead and just make a strength roll for me.
Okay.
Just so I have a baseline here.
All right. I will spend a penny on that.
All right.
5.
Okay. All right. Now we have its turn. It is going to try to move towards Rowan. So I'm going to make that opposing strength roll. As it tries to move forward, Rowan, you watch as Raoul just bear hugs this thing and slams it back up against the wall. A claw comes out and scrapes against the bed frame, kind of like scrapes against a part of the bed too, and you see cotton just flying everywhere from this. It is unable to reach you due to Raoul holding it up against this wall. Good move. So now it is little Tim's turn. Tim is going to, arm just bleeding, hanging limp at his side, holding the gun with the other hand. Seeing all of this unfold, seeing Raoul holding this thing against the wall, seeing Rowan still bleeding, still firing off shots at this thing, Tim glances back at Archie for not necessarily encouragement, but just kind of glances back before pushing you off of him.
Archie would just say, you got this, kid.
And he raises the gun up with the one hand that he still has. You see him close one eye, and he is going to fire at this creature. He's just shouting, "Leave them alone!" So I have a -2 for being unskilled in firearms. I'm rolling a D4. They got a 14.
That kid, don't mess with him.
Let's go, Tim.
Oh gosh, go Tim.
What a champ.
All right, so he shouts, "Leave them alone!" And as he raises up this gun, this creature who was just fixed on Rowan looks over, looks down, his jaw begins to extend again. He's just shrieking, and these shadows are just dripping off of him. Tim looks up. This thing's leaning down, so the gun is basically in this thing's mouth. And Tim closes one eye, and then he just looks away and fires, and you hear the shot just ring out. And as it does, all of these shadows just almost like evaporate. You see, as the bullet slams through, more than what would have been blood comes out on the other side, sprays up against the entire ceiling. You watch every bit of this creature extend out towards that spray of blood that it would have been as this thing is disappearing. The whole ceiling is encased in shadow, and then it all moves down and begins settling into the natural shadows of the room. And you feel that thick fear slowly subsiding. The lights are brighter. The shadows are not as dark anymore. And there's just silence for a moment before you hear Tim just burst into tears from the slice on his arm, and he drops the gun. He is just screaming at all the blood dripping from his arm. What would you like to do?
I'm a little preoccupied. I will have lowered my gun arm and just sort of onto the bed.
Yeah.
Archie will take the gun off little Tim and just say, good shooting. And sort of pat him on the shoulder and go, let's sort that arm out, shall we?
Leonard has made his way over, still just dizzy from being knocked out earlier, and he's leaning up against the doorframe, and he looks in, he looks at Tim, and he sees his arm, and he just drops down to his knees and just pulls him over and is immediately like removing whatever jacket he had on to wrap it around the arm. They're both pretty panicked. Looks up and sees all of the blood just covering Tim's bed.
Anybody know any medicine?
I'll go over to Rowan and kind of like take some of the sheet that's already covered in blood anyway, and just kind of like begin doing a very probably okay tie around your like gut where you've been stabbed.
Okay.
I've been like, come on, yeah, let's. You need a rest? You can. I got a shoulder you can lean on if you need.
I think whiskey would be preferable, but
Like you thought.
At this point, you hear on the front door, and Leonard stops and like spins around. Looks to Archie, who's the only one not immediately preoccupied, and
Okay, no problem. I'll as I pass Leonard, a sort of like a little sort of hesitant sort of tap on the shoulder. Yeah, and then get to the front door and open it.
Yeah, you open the door. You see Sheriff Russell is standing there with his hand on his gun, looking concerned. I'm looking for Leonard.
This way, sir.
He steps in, he sees the mess of the living room. He sees boards shattered everywhere. And his hand doesn't move from his gun at his hip as he's looking around, and neighbors heard screams. What the hell's going on in here? As he's kind of following you as you're just leading him, I'm assuming down the hall.
Yeah. I've still got Tim's gun, but I'll be holding the barrel because I've just taken it off.
He's just like definitely uneasy, and he follows
using it to point, sort of like, oh yeah, it's just this way. He's just this way.
Perfect. And he rounds the corner and he sees the blood just dripping on the hallway floor from Tim, and he pulls his gun out of the holster now, sees Leonard, and he comes up and he says, the neighbors heard screams, what is happening? And Leonard just looks up and he's like, it's okay, everything's okay now, everything's fine. And the sheriff's like, everything is not fine, Leonard. And he kind of glances past and sees you barely standing with a sheet wrapped around and tied, and he says, what the... he immediately holsters his gun, not seeing any signs of immediate... Everybody seems really oddly relaxed, and he's looking around at everybody, and he says, let's get you to a fucking hospital, come on! And he immediately... he grabs Tim up in his arms, like to carry him, and then just points at you, Archie, and then just points to Rowan to help out. He's just rushing outside. As he comes out, the door like slams up against the wall on the other side. He runs out. He has his deputy waiting on his horse outside. He runs over and he just pushes the boy up to the deputy, who kind of grabs onto him and was like, what's happening? And you just see the sheriff just not even explaining, just get him, just go. Just get out of here. So the deputy starts writing Tim off for medical care, and you come out, and he gets up on his horse and he says, are you okay to ride?
Oh, time to the saddle should be all right.
Helps you up like behind him, basically takes a rope and ties you to his torso, And then just looks to the other two and says, I don't know what is going on here. Meet me at my office. And he slams on the reins. Basically, the horse starts heading off really fast at first, and then once he hears how much pain that you're in, he does kind of slow it down a little. Each one. He does slow it down considerably, and we'll skip forward just a little bit. I would say once you received immediate care, the sheriff would demand to speak with you before going into any sort of extensive surgeries, stitching, basically got the bleeding stopped for now. The sun rose probably an hour ago, and you all meet up in the sheriff's office. He is pouring you all a drink, and no words, he just pours everyone a drink, holds his cup up for a cheers. Anyone who is partaking clinks their drink. Also, Rowan, you are on many pain medications right now.
I was gonna say, yeah. I'm probably so loopy and very pale and just kind of sideways, just sort of slumped in the chair, just like.
So yeah, he pours a drink, clinks your drinks together, downs it, and then immediately pours another. Offers another to anyone who wants it. After seeing poor Martha Ward's body, I don't know if I want any more details, if I'm being honest with you. But suppose I'm glad Leonard felt he could trust you with such a task, no matter how bizarre. Seems to be a lot of weird and unusual things happening around these parts lately, and I ain't ashamed to say I'm not cut out for it. So first, I'd like to say thank you.
Of course, that's what we were here for.
I'll kind of give a little nod, but most of my energy is being put into staying upright at the moment.
It's a pleasure to help those in need.
There's a moment as he's taking another drink, sets the glass down, and everyone make a spirit roll.
3.
11.
Man of Steel over here.
I only have a D6 that keeps exploding.
So you just slowly turn and look as this happens, but the other two, you jump as the door to the sheriff's office slams open, and both of you like jump and look over, and then Raoul just slowly turns and looks. But the door bursts open, and you see a man stumble in, covered in blood all down his chest. It looks like he has a broken nose, a busted up lip, and as he tries to stand up, he stumbles over, and you realize, I'd say Archie, you're probably the closest to him. As he stumbles, you kind of catch him, sure. You see he has a bullet hole in his abdomen, just bleeding profusely through his fingers as he's holding his wound, to try to hold in whatever life he's got left. And he appears to be in some type of uniform, but there's so much blood you can't quite focus on that right now. And he's just shouting, "The train!" And blood is just sputtering from his lips, and his eyes are wide with this urgency, and he reaches up to grab onto your collar, basically. He's just holding onto you and pulling you closer. He's looking you in the eyes, and he just says, "You have to stop the train." And you hear his breath catch in his throat, and his eyes flutter for a moment. And he says, and just falls over.
We've got to stop a train.
He lays on his he falls on his back, and you see as he coughs, a little more blood kind of comes up and just spatters down onto his face. The sheriff rushes to lean down beside him. You're kind of sitting there looking him over. The sheriff comes over and just turns his head just slightly to let the blood kind of flow out of his mouth. And the sheriff's just looking at him with just this calm face, and he says, What train? And this guy just looks up and he says, the Crossroads. And then you see his last breath just exhale slowly, rattling with the blood that's leaking into his windpipe. And everything falls completely silent.